voices are going to be like that. And we should be live. All right, I think we're live, man. How we doing today, Coach?
Doing good. What's going on, Coach? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man. This is a little bit different setup. One, we're in the same room as opposed to, I'm tucked away in my dark office somewhere, and then you're not in the same room. I think this is gonna be a lot better. I feel more connection already.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the middle of a jiu-jitsu match.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot behind the scenes. Yeah.
There's cameras. There's a whole media portion of our company, and I got to stay calm, stay cool.
It's just all bells and whistles is what it is. But we're actually at our for those just watching. First off, if you guys are watching, do me a favor. This is all still very new technology.
It's expensive technology. I might add that.
Do me a favor. It's just comment for me. Let me see. I gotta see some comments. Let me know how the audio is coming through. If it's too loud, too harsh, video, the whole nine. So, there, and I'm gonna add your. Yeah. So we are at the new Westland location, and we're in the upstairs. We're in the upstairs. Oh, let's see. I like this angle better too. In our conference podcast room, and beneath us is going to be the training area. So we're currently running classes out of this, and it's been a long year, man. I mean, it's been a really long year as far as just getting this place open. Do you remember when we got it?
I don't.
I think it was. It's May, April
of last year. Yeah, I feel like we've been working on this project for quite a few years.
Yeah, well, I mean, because we were sourcing it, like we were trying to source it, which Amanda just told me that. So that Toys R Us spot on Eureka,
yeah,
it's now Big Lots.
Yep,
Big Lots is leaving.
Really?
Yeah, well, because they're closing that one because they have the one down on Taylor.
Oh.
And so she's like, "What do you think for HK?" I was like, "I'm not touching another freaking building project for a minute, like for a while." But they just moved in there like a couple of years ago.
Not long, and they have like 2 locations. I thought they might have used it for like storage or something, but
they're close. I mean, do you shop at Big Lots? I don't go in there.
Not really.
I don't. I went into that. I don't really go in there. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't. I don't end up there.
I still don't understand exactly what is. I've been in there a few times, but like, what is a Big Lot? And why Big Lot over?
It's gonna be. I'm playing with this. It's gonna be like. Big Lots is gonna be. How would you guys explain Big Lots if you're watching it? It's gonna be, like a TJ Maxx for groceries, maybe, or like a. It's like a step above a thrift store, but a step below a Myers.
Yeah, it's in between a lot of retails.
Yeah.
Like you could buy mattresses in there and sofas, and you can also buy I think dollar store items. It's very odd.
Yeah. You get some good deals, but the quality's kind of so. I'll tell you, I used to go Big Lots for CD players because they had cheap CD players.
CD?
Well, yeah, it was like the 90s. Like it was like 98, 99. I would buy them there. I'm kind of aging myself now, so we're gonna get into some of these topics, and if you guys have any questions, if you guys have any questions about anything, go ahead and throw them in the chat. We'll address them. It can be about anything that we're offering, and we're gonna do our best to kind of answer them at the end. So we do have Helena coming in. If you guys don't know Helena, she is a 17-year-old phenom. And she trains under Danaher, Gordon Ryan. She just got promoted to brown belt. Is that right?
Yes.
Brown belt. She was blue. Was she blue? Was she?
Well, no. She went from blue to purple.
Blue to purple. It was pretty rapidly though. Like it was pretty rapid. Now is she? We're hosting the seminar here Sunday. At not here at the Westland spot. It's at the Southgate headquarters. But we are hosting it. She's coming in. And she's like I think those are the type of role models that girls need to look up to. Like I'd rather young girls be excited about like someone like Helena than someone like the Kardashians, like they're like that's a role model that I want them to chase. As far as what they're looking at. So what do you think about it?
Well, I remember seeing her at the IBJJF tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
and she was a blue belt at the time, and this was 23. This was like 2 years ago, and I think she might have been a weight class like above or around one of our students, and I remember she was very active in the competition scene, and it was like that girl's like a 15-year-old, 14 or 15-year-old, like she's really good.
Who'd she go against from Metro?
She ended up not being in the same division, but
she's spread. She's not like she almost weighs as much as me, right? She's 185. She's like I don't know if you're allowed to use the word thick, right? But like she's like a heavy girl, like especially for a 17-year-old. She's not like a petite, like one of these petite grapplers. Like
she's not like she's over 170.
Yeah. So she's strong, probably.
Yeah, and you can see by looking at her physique that she's pretty proportioned.
Did she now? Do we know? Did she do gymnastics? Was she? Because she looks like she's got a gymnast build a little bit. Like just her shoulders and her. She's got strong man shoulders, dude. Like she looks built, like and so, but then we put a highlight on our story. Like she's got the flexibility of a gymnast. Like flexibility, she's moving and warming up in ways that would like take me out the game, dude.
Yeah, I know before her, in her early years, I don't know what her background was, but I know she started in Las Vegas in 2000, early 2022, and her parents really invested in her. Like they, I guess. I don't know if she quit school, but I know that everything was completely around supporting her and jiu-jitsu. So it was a good mix of supporting parents for one specific sport, and the girl, she loves to train.
Does she have it? Does she have any siblings? Curiously,
I don't know.
I'd be curious. I gotta find out. Like I need to ask her if she's got any siblings, because I'd be curious how that plays. Like I've always wondered that, right? Like, well, I mean, you got 6 kids. Yeah. Like, how does that? I'm gonna guess, like, if I'm a father of 6, like, you can't just drop everything for one and not the rest of the 5, right?
No.
Without serious. I mean, that happened to Joseph, and they beat him and threw him in a pit and sold him in a slave. Like, so it's not gonna go great. Like, well, like what? How do you balance that if you got more than one kid?
You can't, but every kid is different, and I don't think she has. She might be an only child. You can't. Some kids they gravitate towards one sport, and some are not really into sports. Some are going to be into video games or different activities. But
I got a side question when it comes back around. Keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, just getting back to Helena, she. Her parents were both professional athletes.
Did I hear him say powerlifters?
Yeah.
Powerlifters.
Yeah, they were both professional athletes, so they know what it's like to be competing, training, and living life on the next level. And frankly, you and I both know to achieve extraordinary results, you can compare yourself to your peers and people in your industry. You have to work. You have to outwork everybody. Like you win in the practice, you win in the off season, you prepare yourself and win, and your training, your preparation, everything you do has to be so much more than your competitors or your peer group in order for you to stand out. And they obviously came from a background of professional sports that helped put Helena in or connect Helena with the absolute best of the best, and it looks like they had the resources to do it because they traveled all over the world, all over the country, and she won. She won double gold at Nogi World Championship. She took first in her body weight at IBJJF in 2023. She took Pan titles at 23, 24.
Is there so what's the career like? I'm always thinking, right? Because you and I mean, we're in the same plaza as Downriver Gymnastics,
Yeah.
and I remember talking like we were talking about collabing with
Kelly.
Kelly, thank
Yeah.
you, yeah, and she's like, yeah, guys, I'm not gonna need to market this year. It was the Olympics, so maybe next year. And she's like in Florida, right? She's like, I'm not gonna need to market. I was like,
Yeah.
that's so. There seems to be a pretty like a career path for certainly gymnasts, right? I mean, albeit, if you want to get in the you want to train in the Olympic team, right? You find an Olympic school, it's gonna cost you. I mean, it's gonna be an investment like anything else. How you can choose to invest in college, you can choose to invest in that. But there seems to be like a career path for something like Olympics, a career path for something like hockey. Like Coach Mark he's here, he's helping us out. Downstairs with some of the renovations, but even he's like, there's a career path if you want to be a hockey coach. Like, what does the career path look like for someone like Helena? Because she's getting started early, she's got a great platform, she's got a great team, and I think I really think being around people like Gordon and Danaher, like they're not just great grapplers, dude. Like they get it. Especially Danaher's got some foresight that. Hey, even when they interview Ryan, he's like, yeah, I didn't see what John saw, and he's proved himself. He's proved right over the years, way after I got to think about it. What's a career path if someone wanted to make that for someone like Helena? I know she's doing this, she's doing these seminars, right? But I mean, at some point. I mean, that's still very much work. I mean, living on a plane, going to it. I'm sure she enjoys it at the moment. Like she's bringing merch. Yeah, so she could bring merch to sell. She'll sell it out of the gym. But like, what's that look like? For someone like that. For maybe someone watching or they're new to it.
So she's charging like upwards of $5,000 for a seminar, right? So if you think is $5,000 a lot of money, yeah, it is.
Sure.
And she definitely is. She deserves it because she's using her youth, and training and competing at the same time as she's starting to market herself. And like I remember, I was talking to Craig Jones at a seminar, and like he was exhausted. He did like.
Grilled with everybody that day. I missed it.
You did?
I don't know where I was. I couldn't make it. I missed it. I was bummed.
Yeah. So I remember him saying that like even back then, this was like what 7-8 years ago.
That would have been dude. At least.
Even back then, he knew that he was grinding it, but he was competing, and he was training, but because his name was in the spotlight, he was using that platform to actually make money.
Sure.
And it's a grind, and it's definitely made for the young because as soon as you're off of the big stage, you're off of the news for being relevant that day or that week, then your stock goes down, unfortunately.
You know who I think. I think of Keenan a lot. Keenan, Cornelius, yeah. So, I mean, he's just focused on running his school now. He's retired, right? He doesn't compete anymore, or like it's like an exhibit match, right? Like but he's not like on the circuit regularly anymore, is he?
I wouldn't say the R word or compete
not
word.
Not retired. But
I don't know, but
he's focused on school right now.
Yeah.
So he's just focused on school, but that's someone. Case in point. I mean, I think it should be. I was talking to Coach Jay, and he in 2 sentences. He said 2 sentences, right? He was like, "Yeah, Coach, one day I want to be." He mentioned he threw out the word UFC, acronym UFC, and then he threw out and then eventually opening a school. And I said, "You do understand those are 2 very different, contradictory things, Coach Mark." We were just talking about you.
Your concrete guys are here.
You're gonna have to. Can you? I'll get to them.
Are you guys live?
We are live. Coach Mark, say hi. Where are you at? Come around here to the front. We were just it's all right. Come around to the front. I was bragging on you. And guys, this is Coach Mark, and you can talk into this mic right here. The man, the myth, the legend.
Coach Mark.
How long you coached hockey for, Coach Mark?
38 years.
Wow, that's not, I thought it was 28.
No, 38 years I've
38
been
years.
coaching hockey.
Trenton
Just
hockey.
quit 2 years ago.
So, and now you're coaching for us.
Coaching jiu-jitsu
So
now
we
for you
got
guys.
all the benefits.
Wait, how old are you?
63.
Okay.
I'll be 63 in a few months.
All right. Well, if you think that Coach Mark has makeup on, no, he's just good looking every day of the week. 60-some years old. In the last 100 days, how many days on the mat have you been?
So right now, I think the last calculation is I'm at 98 rolls in 126 days.
98 rolls.
Wait, 98 rolls or 98 classes?
98 classes.
98
if you
classes.
include zombies classes.
Which is 6 a.m.
98. But I took December off. If I wouldn't have took December off, I'd probably be right around 120.
Okay. 98 classes in 120 days. I mean,
126 days.
120.
And he took December off, though.
And I took December off.
So it's like every day. You're training every day.
Yeah, sometimes 3 times a day. Like on Tuesdays and Fridays, I can hit 3 times a day. I'll hit zombies in the morning, 1 o'clock with Jimmy, and then I'll hit your class in the evening. I did that probably 5 times in the last 4 months.
So
Hit double triples.
Coach Mark, I want you're going to be a guest on this podcast very soon, probably next coming weeks. But if you had to focus on, we're talking about a career path for traditional sports, things like hockey. What in your eyes, because you've seen it from the hockey side, what's a way to create more of a career path for in the jiu-jitsu realm? We're talking about Helena. She's 17. She's coming in. She's doing seminars. She's selling her time. What's something out of your almost 4 decades of experience in the coaching realm?
He's also a Masters veteran. He's competed at Masters, Master Worlds.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Get back with me. As far as the, I don't even know concrete guys are coming, so they're gonna have to wait. So.
But I will say this: if you're getting ready to go to college right now, I would not get a job as a accountant. Artificial intelligence is going to take over all the accounting jobs, and you have people going to college right now to become accountants.
Accountants?
If you want to do something in the future,
I'm not
get involved in the
letting an
environment.
AI touch my accounting, dude. I gotta. Wait, you gotta get creative with that.
I just strongly recommend anybody going to college right now become an environmental engineer because everybody's worried about the planet.
I got you. Well, we live here, right? We live here. Thanks, Coach Mark.
What do you want me to tell you?
That's the picture you sent me.
Yeah.
The concrete needs to be
If you could take him next door to Rich, the basketball guy next door.
Just to let you know, I pointed out a couple things. So right before opening, they're going to come and give you another polish.
You got it. Thanks, man. So we have.
So getting back to the path, look, I believe that it's in a lot of people's best interest not to basically to carve out a path for making money in jiu-jitsu. So Helena is making, I'm sure she's got some sponsorships, and I know, the names that come up, household names, Mika Galvo, his whole crew from Brazil. I would almost go as far to say is like they don't want what those guys. They don't want to basically go public with what those guys are making because, as far as a career path, like number one, you have to be good, and as soon as numbers start to get out there of what people are making, what sponsorships are like, what working with the agent is like, you can't. It's like cutting hair. You could take off, but you can't put on. Once they set those numbers out, they're public, unless you're Gordon Ryan throwing out, I got $1 million contract, then that becomes like almost a starting point for anybody who's up and coming. And we're just starting to get into like UFC Pass, and CGI was a big one that threw a lot of money. And as soon as athletes get a taste of money, they feel and say it's possible. And for a still relatively young sport that sponsors athletes and that make careers out of them, there has to be a place to go find the money. And I don't think the what do you call the
Demand.
no, the money is not funneling from one central location. You know, the people are not funneling from one central location. So basically, what I think is that until we get until we have more UFCs and more big names into the space, it'll be hard to carve out a path. But I will say is that you can compare it to boxing. You can compare it to gymnastics. But the fact is still the same. You have to be good, and you have to have a reason to expect somebody to pay you to come on their show. You have to add value, and you have to win. And it's not like a basketball, a 52 game season or whatever it is. Like, you're only going to have a few matches through the year, and you can't afford to lose. And unlike boxing, you can't be 50% win rate in boxing. You have to have a very winning record in order to start to expect some money.
Well, yeah, but there's guys like I don't really follow UFC like that, but I know just like the beef with it is that a lot of them they're just underpaid. Like, it's not a some of these guys, like, they're making 50, 60 grand a year, and they're doing the what they're putting their bodies through. I mean, you're talking about like that will haunt, like, you're making what like what a carpenter makes, and not even a journeyman, like a couple year carpenter or a Cadoba manager salary to just beat your body, abuse your body. And some of these guys are like really good.
Yeah, but that's why people don't initially start combat sports. That's the reason why. Well, man, I don't want to break my body down. Like, some people find joy
Yeah.
and peace and fighting every day and training. Some people that's their calling, but it does break you down. But that's part of the business you're in.
What is that? Can you explain? You lost me at the like, once you put in the base number out there, you're saying as far as like contracts to like pay. Are you talking about like ADCC gave or CJI gave a 10 grand buy-in to everyone who made weight? I don't even think. I think they just showed it. They may not even have to make weight, but like 10 grand to every participant.
Minimum.
That's the threshold. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. What I'm saying is minimum wage is, say, like $13, $14 an hour, right? Once minimum wage is established, and it's that's the law here, but
I think it's still low. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, practically it's 15. It might still be 10 though, 10 or 11. Like, legally, I think it's 10 or 11. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So minimum wage is $10, $15 an hour. That's the starting point.
Sure.
And I think that for promoters and anybody looking to sponsor people, there isn't a starting. There isn't like tier levels. There's like, okay, we'll try to see what happens, like maybe contingent. And then there's the top, the best of the best. So once there's a minimum wage of industry money that will go into an athlete that's up and coming, I think that is, that is when we're going to see a lot more people saying, okay, at least there's some type of roadmap.
Yeah, but I wonder too. It's because there's no clear ecosystem.
Right.
There's no clear economy.
Yeah.
Of like what's the okay, so because if you want, like, right now people squawk about a Flow grappling subscription. Oh, how much is Flow? $150 a year, maybe? I don't know. 100, 120. How much is it?
It's 200.
Okay, they squawk about it though. So they're like, oh, it should be free.
Less than like $20 a month.
Yeah, so like they squawk about it. They don't squawk about Netflix. They don't squawk about Disney Plus or Hulu or HBO Max, but like they squawk about it. And so now you're going to there's like this ecosystem, right? Like it's not excuse me, not ecosystem. The economy. There's no economy there. Yeah. And I wonder. So to your point about the money being there, I mean, jiu-jitsu's and in the scale of sports, it's not the most expensive. It's not the cheapest. Like there's a pay to play aspect to it, right? Like, yeah, you got gear, you got gym memberships, you got recovery. I mean, supplements to recover.
Well, that's what I mean. If you find love in gymnastics,
sure,
you're going to have to pay to train more. Mm-hmm. Like, gymnastic memberships can cost upwards of over like $400 or $500 a month.
Over 7-8 grand a year.
You could do a
9
drop
grand.
in for $10-20. Sure, every sport has that. Basketball, everything.
Yeah.
And then when you want to travel to competitions, cheerleading competitions, like if you factor in the travel in order to get the experience and get acknowledged or build up your brand, your team, or your individual brand,
Yeah.
that takes money. So
Sure. Yeah. A
compare-
lot of people don't realize that.
in comparable to jiu-jitsu, like it's not really different. If somebody wants they want to build up their brand in boxing, and you got to fly, you live in Michigan, you have to fly out to the East Coast or the West Coast. That takes money. So as far as jiu-jitsu goes, we're young, but I think as more people get in, you're going to have more people to say, I want to have my skin in the game. This is what I want to do. And the pool of people training is probably smaller than boxing or gymnastics or whatever. So I don't think it's that different. And what do we need to do? I think the experience of training jiu-jitsu and grappling, it has to be there. It's very difficult, and if you don't have a good experience on the mat, then it'll be easy for someone to kind of say, this is not for me. So, and they might have all the talent in the world and all the tools that you can't teach people.
Do you think that if jiu-jitsu was added to the Olympics, that would change things?
A little bit, yeah. I think that.
How would that change? That would be because if you take all that would be kind of crazy to see because inevitably Craig and Gordon probably end up on the American team. I know Craig's Australian, right?
I don't see him ending up on the.
No, he's Australian. He can't, right?
Yeah, I think he. No, he's still new.
That would be crazy.
I don't think he'd want us to claim him.
Yeah, no, it's a country of birth, right? Yeah. So there was slightly off topic. There was this the guy in track. He was let's see, what was it? He was born in America. His mother was Swedish. He ran or did track or whatever for Sweden, and I remember looking at him. I was like, that's kind of weird. How'd that happen? And he chose for Sweden to represent. He could have gone either or because his parents were 1-1, and he's like, I chose Sweden. Americans don't get it, dude. I'll have 200,000 people show up to a track meet in Europe. No one shows up to one in America. He's like, it's a career. Going back to that same point, there's a career path here, So, and I think a gold medal now, at least last I checked, you win a gold medal at the Olympics, it's outside of all the endorsements, $50,000 per gold medal.
And it's not much compared to sponsorships outside.
Oh yeah, no, it's just it's a cherry. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, after the Olympics is where they make the money.
Yeah, I can't only imagine. I mean, when you end up on a Wheaties box like Simone Biles, and then how much do you think Michael Phelps made on endorsements after it was that 2008 Olympics?
Well, even better. I was at a health convention, and your buddy Bruce Jenner.
Yeah, he's tight. We text daily. Yeah. Oh my God.
So your buddy Bruce Jenner was actually one of the keynote speakers, and he talked about his path and that whole thing of leading up to it. And obviously, all athletes have adversity that they have to overcome, and that's like an example. I met him. I met some NFL football coaches, some really prominent people, and after their career in the Olympics. And when they have time is when they start to get sponsorships, come in and speak, or be used as a brand.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's I'm excited. I'm excited for Helena. I think it's cool. I think it's great for the for the kids certainly. Leah says Flow's $30 a month now, so
30.
That's gone up. So that's 30. That's $360 a year. It's gone up. But now they have Flow wrestling on there. I almost like watching that more. That's pretty sick. So we have moving right along. So Canton, excited for the Canton area where we're at. I didn't realize how close we were to Plymouth too. My brother lives in Plymouth, West Plymouth. And he's it's 14 minutes to his house.
Yeah.
And he's almost whatever's west of Plymouth. He's on his way out. He's in the country. He's got land and stuff. So that's close, man. I didn't know it was
So
close
if you
for-
Google Jiu-Jitsu near me, if you Google Jiu-Jitsu near Plymouth, Google Jiu-Jitsu near Canton, I mean, Google is going to tell you everything. It's going to tell you the best Jiu-Jitsu places. Obviously, Metro Jiu-Jitsu is going to come up at the top of them, but we are, like, this location is chose to make it accessible to, like, everybody, not just in the city, but, you know, it's easy access. It's easy to get into the Metro Jiu-Jitsu Westland location, but, you know, our location, Google will probably tell you it's the best near you.
Well,
best near me.
so it's interesting. Like they're, you know, it's first and foremost, like Google they're always going to go by geography, right? Like so, like if someone is standing out our front door, they Google Jiu-Jitsu near me, like we're going to pop up, right? But if you go, just make it something 12 miles away, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what type of ads or anything you're running. Like you're going to go to nearest whatever school is closest because they want to actually relevant, right?
Yeah.
But what I like about this market, because I didn't spend a lot of time around Westland. I mean, we did work here when we did doors and stuff, but I didn't spend a lot of time around Westland until being out here. And I like Westland, dude. They're kind of my people a little bit. Like they're worker, they're blue collars, a lot of them, right? It kind of reminds me of like it's got a like if Woodhaven and Taylor had a baby, you know, like it's got nice stuff. Like you go down Warren, dude. You got the whole cutting edge down there. Like you gotta, because you got nice, you got nice stuff. I'm gonna get canceled. I'm gonna lose my real estate license over this. Because you have nice stuff here, but people are still down to earth. You know, like you got the cutting edge place, that axe throwing joint down the street. You've got, dude, Anna's. You've been to Anna's house?
No.
Right at the dude. We gotta go here after this. Like it's like gluten free. I want to say it's not vegan, but they had certainly a vegan option. But it's like super. It's like really clean eating, brunch style though. Like so, and it's really really nice food. Just really good. And there's like, again, for like Anna's house, they're strategic. My brother Paul knows. I don't think he's like the corporate owner, but he owns several of them, and like they're pretty strategic about where they put them. But like that's nice. There will never be an Anna's house downriver. Like there's just you know.
So speaking of food and gluten, for those of you guys who don't know what that is, it's gluten and lectins are known to cause, like, what I want to know about them is they cause inflammation in the body. And
Coach, do you mind sharing your credentials on this topic for those who aren't like, you know, like they may not know you, you know, so like, are you just giving your opinion, or like do you have any experience in the supplement or food industry? You mind giving your credentials on that?
Yeah. So my mom, ever since I was a kid, would always try to give me a healthy twist. Like, you know, there's Arabic foods out there, Mediterranean foods that have the flavor. And sometimes you got to add fat in the cooking, or like butter and stuff like that. And my mom was the one that always incorporated like healthy, and like it was always healthy. So I think my experience with growing up, my mom and myself and my sister, health was the healthy eating was more important, and my palates changed. And then over time, because I was so young, and you know, I think I learned to hear something, understand what it is, how it works in the body, and then for me, my palates changed to what I'm tasting, the definition of the food, not necessarily what the food tastes like.
I know exactly what you're saying, but it's annoying when people ruin things for me.
Listen, I walked in the house the other day, and Nancy, my wife, she's grinding all these greens. Like she's got this whole
fresh greens.
Yes, she's got this whole table. Like I'm telling you, it's like as big as my arms, and she's like, I got choy, chartered greens, kale, and stuff. if I went to a restaurant, a salad place, I wouldn't put half the stuff on my salad.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh! Whose idea? Whose idea? Where was she? Was that a TikTok influence or like what's her deal?
I don't know. We got this.
I mean, I'm not mad about it. It's
We
green.
got this
It's good for you.
juicer and
Oh, juicing. Okay.
Ferris Abed, Blue Belt, got us it as a housewarming gift, and we started,
Oh, I
decided
see.
to use it. But
Okay.
anyway, she puts it in there, and man, it's as green as you can think. If you close your eyes and throw a cow in the middle of
Radioactive shake. Look.
yeah, like what does the stuff that he tastes like, that he's eating taste like, and the cow's going to be eating grass? And I felt like it was so green.
Yeah.
She mixed everything. She
Yeah.
got turmeric, and she got a lot of celery.
Oh,
Like
Okay.
it was like, to
That's
a normal
good
person
for
it would be
in-
unnecessary.
Good for inflammation though.
And
That's
she throws parsley in there, and she's like, "Well, this basically takes away parasites, and it's a magnet for heavy metals." And so the point is that I'm like, "Well, Nancy, I'll drink it, but like maybe the kids might want a little bit more sweetness. Like, so can you add some more fruit in there, or whatever?"
Yeah.
So I drink it, and my palate's changed to where, tell me what it's good for, tell me how it works inside the body, and that's what tastes good to me.
Yeah.
So, so I've been involved. Like I've kind of made those kind of decisions my entire life, and it was more about how can this help my body and affect my body, and it led me to like nutritional supplements, and I got into like helping people with supplements as I was younger, and then that led me into like saying, you know what, I wanna do what I enjoy,
Sure.
and that led me to actually moving into the health, wellness, and medical industry. And so I owned a chain of nutrition stores and retail, wholesale, and I've done that for over 20 years.
So when you're talking about like gluten and the gluten options, then like is it? I mean, on the topic, we might be getting a little ahead of it. Well, it's food quality, right? It's food quality. I've been noticing like the greatest. I am more aware of inflammation in my body than I ever have been. Like I can tell you, like, oh, my knees are inflamed, my hips or whatever. And so I'm always like, to your point, if you're like, hey, this is turmeric's good for inflammation, ginger. I don't think lemon zest is one, but like, just these like weird, bold flavors and things that you throw in, olive oil, things that you throw in, and they're very much. It sounds cliche, but it's very much like what you're eating. I mean, think about what you put into your car, right? The type of fuel. You can't put sugar into your gas tank. Your car will still out. Water, no good. And that helps it perform, and especially for what we're doing. Like even hobbyist jiu-jitsu guys, right? Like well, I don't know if I'd call him a hobbyist, but Coach Mark, at 100 classes in 100 days or whatever, his stuff's got to be on point, and I'm excited to have him on because he's had a bit of a health journey too. But what's annoying is how difficult it is. You need to go out of your way to find this stuff. Like from everything of like when you go to sporting events, what's all there? It's just junk food, just like all synthetic processed. It's Doritos, and like even my kids, right? I like to get them stuff, and it's really just the diet and stuff in America makes it really difficult to just get clean, natural food. That's not gonna bother you without any extra chemicals or dyes or preservatives or any of those things, which they taste good. Like Doritos are. I love Doritos, man. Yeah. Walking tacos are the bomb. So like, what does that look like, man? Like you're. Like, how does your decision making go in those things? Because for me, like, I'm content. I like simple, and so I make my shake. I like the greens are great if you have scuba greens, but egg, protein white or protein powder, and milk, and that's 700 calorie shake to start the day. Like what? Like I can do that because it's simple. I don't want to have to mess with like a recipe or finding these ingredients or whatever. Yeah. So what's that look like?
Yeah. So like, I mean, there's a lot about nutrition and health that I don't know. But I do know what makes sense to me, and I think that's the important thing. That when you're looking into, we have New Year's resolutions, lots of them that are going on this year, and when you look up certain foods, you're going to find certain foods and vitamins and how things affect your body. look up what makes sense to you.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like gluten, for example. Someone might say, "I want to go gluten free," and they might be a really lean person, but they still want to feel better, and they don't have any gut issues, right? That's a whole another road we can go down. But gluten is put in foods and breads that it gives elasticity and creates fluffiness inside breads. It also
Makes it gives you that soft, delicious
yeah,
bread that we like. Yeah.
yeah, and it does a lot of things like uh, it gives it creates like stickiness and bloatiness in some people.
Pasta.
Yes.
Traditionally, yeah,
Yeah.
that binder. Yep.
Um, but if a guy's lean, he's really let's say he's got a flat stomach or whatever, gluten might not be affecting him. So if that guy goes gluten free, like what's the reason? So when you're looking into like health and wellness and making some health goals for, you know, just generally speaking, or if you want to say I want to feel better, you have to look what makes sense to you. And is that is the byproduct or the effect of this food do you feel any of that stuff? And if it doesn't, you should not be like making a change for gluten free or low carb or high carb, because you can argue it in different ways. But if you're not, diabetes doesn't run in your family, you don't have highs and lows after eating carbs. If you're active, like a lot of times you make changes that you really don't need to make, but you just need to educate yourself on what makes sense to you. And when you start reading about any type of nutrition or exercise, they will jump right out at you.
Do you have any recommended material, like whether it's a book or a podcast or even on like Instagram account, like anything you follow for someone just getting started? Because I know, when I first got into fitness, my it was like 2007, 2008, so Facebook was brand new. The resources weren't there what we have today, and but I got turned on to. You know what it was? It was bodybuilding.com, and it was their forums, right? So their actual like forums, and you had to scroll pages, and you had user accounts, but it was Mark Ripto's starting strength, and so that was just effectively 5x5s, squats, deadlifts, bench press, just literally, and I was the perfect demographic for that. One, because my genetics, we tend to be like bigger people. Like you look at my family, we're bigger, but I was also I was malnourished at that point. I was 6'1", I was 140 pounds. I need to put on some weight, and that worked really well for me. But it's been a constant nutrition is always you've seen it just since we've been there. It's like, dude, I'm trying this. I'm trying, keto. Like Wally, that guy. His stuff. It looks great. He's in great shape, But his stuff, I'm like, dude, I'm not doing a 72-hour fast. I got class, man. How do you expect me to wrestling class fasted? At on a 48-hour fast. You just want me to get ran through, by all the blue belts or whatever. So it's got to fit your lifestyle. But do you have any recommended intro, entry level to whatever, fitness or feel better, anything like that?
Yeah, I think you'll get that information on Google, and we're giving a free health and diet and nutrition report with everybody who's gonna for all new people that come on Metro Jiu-Jitsu. All members are gonna have access to free health reports, free diet plans. We're gonna include that in what we're doing. So next time you look up get in shape, exercising near me or anything like that, just know that anybody coming in, we're gonna give access to that. But I will say this, because there's a lot of stuff out there, and there is no one right way, and there's no right way to start. I think as a baseline, everybody knows that soda is bad for you, like a Coke or a Pepsi.
Even diet.
A lot of people argue that. I don't.
You're breaking me down.
I don't drink Coke or Pepsi.
Don't mind me. I'm just gonna drink my Celsius cancer can while you keep talking.
But I do have a diet, maybe a couple times a week. But anyway, I think we know that. We know that sugar is really, really bad for you. You know, you don't need to know that it causes inflammation in the body. You don't need to know that it's like it gives you a little, it feel good. It's like a firecracker in the body, and once it explodes, there's nothing but smoke, and you're like, I need more, and that causes insulin sensitivity. And so, what I would say to this is, like how we approach diet and wellness at Metro, and anybody who asks me is that uh, just moderation. You should be eating junk food in today. You should be eating junk food. You should go out to eat. Yeah,
Should.
yeah, because not many people. What separates somebody who's in like an elite athlete or in really good shape is they understand what I do, like the greens. Like I'm drinking grass and stuff that smells like and could essentially taste like something's not right. This is green.
Mower clippings.
Yeah, like it really you really think about that, but not many people can say I understand why I'm doing this and my body I'm doing this for my body, and they can put aside what they're eating when they're eating for the sake of better performance. So I like it's taken me years to kind of it's taken me years to work with people and be okay with them. Yeah, if you go to McDonald's once a week, twice a week, go. Just maybe every other week you don't go one time, and then you slowly start to cut back. But you cannot make major changes, and you can't make major changes suddenly unless there's like a really big, something really big happens in your life. So I think
I don't know, man. I have a pretty. Well, let me ask more questions. What would be your why would you be against making major changes?
because they're not easy.
Is that the only reason?
Yeah, they're not easy.
It's just harder to stick to.
They're not easy. They're harder to stick to. If I was going to go out there and promote making major diet changes, lifestyle changes, fitness changes, then you know we're extremely busy. But we'd be even busier.
Yeah.
You know, we have like a waiting list here for people to set up to take a trial and start at Metro. But like, you know, if our waiting list is a week right now or two, it might be a month or two. Like everybody would be coming out of it. If it was easy, everybody would do it. It's just it's not realistic to expect that of anybody because the superstars are going to naturally show up. The superstars are going to like we're going to be like, whoa, where did that come from? They have something inside of them, life experiences that just put them on another level as far as commitment, sacrifice, hard work to get in better shape, to train more, to eat healthier. They are self-motivated people that came to us or any nutrition wellness area with some type of pre-existing motivation.
I think it, and that makes sense to me, right? Like that makes sense of it's difficult, and it can be, and I think the sheer overwhelm of making a drastic change, if like to your point, right? Let's say I'm 260 pounds, need to lose weight, and I'm 260 pounds. I'm a soft 260 though, right? And I want to lose weight, and someone's like, all right, well, you need to 4 days of cardio, 3 days of jits, no sugar, no alcohol, no processed food, no, or maybe they'll say they throw you on keto, right? Like and I've been consuming all of those things, traditionally. To do that cold turkey, people do it, right? People do it, but they have extremely good reasons and extremely good motivation. If it's when the doctor says, all right, listen, Fox, it's either make these changes or they'll be planning your funeral in 2 years. It's a good reason, right? Like people usually, not all, but people usually they're like get their stuff together. It's a good reason.
Some might not make that change until it's like, okay, we warned you, you only have a year to live or 6 months. Some people it takes that close of a call for like something drastic to happen before they make the change. So, yeah, it's like, until it clicks in their head and it's their idea and they realize like, I'm going to get this done, not your way or my way, anyway. I'm going to do what it takes to get it done. That's when people get results. But for the general population, I want to lose weight. I want to get into better shape. Like, you have to be realistic.
Do you get And I think I think there's prudence in giving yourself some grace, right? Like I think I made a video about that, about like, because I would routine, dude. I did exactly what you were saying, not to like, I did the wrong way though. Like I tried to make extreme whatever, and then I would, because I had a sweet tooth, like a big, like huge sweet tooth. You got a boxing match going on? What is it? Oh, is that your? That's your notifications. The boxing bell.
Second thing, let me turn that off.
So I would like fiend for sugar, like an addict, right? And then like if I had a little bit, then I would kill two. Dude, I would go to CVS and get like I dropped $50 on candy, and go get a Little Caesars. Like it would like, and I would just smash like Oreos, like because it was like all or nothing. It was very much addictive behavior, and junkie behavior is what it was, right? So like it's all or nothing, cereal and milk.
Let me just say that if you are gonna have that sweet tooth,
Yeah,
you better enjoy it.
Yeah,
If you
it was like a lot of self-loathing that.
Yeah. Well, $50 at CVS and candy, I could see is a little bit more than get my fix, but like Taza Fresh Grill.
Yeah.
They are.
Dicks, yeah.
Yep, they're on Dix Road, and I think it's still considered Southgate.
Yeah.
So they have a carrot cake, and I think they have some of the best carrot cake in the country. And it's very sweet. It's very rich, but
is it wet? Some carrot cake.
Moist.
I don't like that. Yeah,
and like their cream cheese, their caramel. I'm telling you, this is some high level stuff.
Okay.
When I have their cake, I never regret it.
Yeah.
But if I had like something from the gas station or I just picked up from Kroger, I might get my fix, but I feel guilty because like I really didn't enjoy it. I just got the sugar in.
Subpar.
If you're gonna have a unhealthy or fatty meal, make it an experience where like I don't care what you say or what this is gonna do to me. I feel good, and junk food and should be like that. And I think that philosophy for me has changed how often I eat out, because if I'm not gonna really enjoy a McDonald's burger, like really like this was great. Half the time that they're leftover food that's been sitting out and fries or whatever. So if I'm not going to enjoy it, like why would I waste? Why would I put it in my body if I don't feel good about it?
Yeah, and that there's a whole mentality about it too. I think if you to your point about like knowing what food's doing for me, it may not taste the best, but it's working for me.
Yeah.
I'll enjoy it, right? I'll enjoy it, and then there's also the fitting it into your lifestyle a little bit. Fit it into your lifestyle of what am I going to do? Like if I'm super busy and I don't like to cook, then maybe meal prep is not going to be the best thing. Maybe it's worth the extra investment to have, those made for you meals, or you just get the same. Like down the street from here, which is sick, is we have poke, and poke. If you guys aren't familiar, that is it's like unwrapped sushi. So you can get tuna, rice, like just literally any type of sushi you want, volcano sauce or eel sauce, whatever, in a bowl. And so that works it up too. And you got to find what works and what are you willing. Ultimately, it's gonna take resources though, and resources are your time, money, and energy. So if you want to spend more time, okay. Yeah, thanks, Coach Mark. If you wanna spend more time, then you can save some money. But if you can spend some money if you want to save your time, right? So those are interchangeable. But really finding something that injects into your lifestyle that's gonna work. That's gonna work really, really well. That's gonna work really well for you. So finding something that fits in your lifestyle is gonna be huge. What do you think about that, Coach? Putting something in your lifestyle that fits your lifestyle.
It's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. What do you have a favorite meal, like an easy meal prep?
Healthy foods or just
Well, yeah, we're talking healthy foods. Yeah.
healthy favorite meal? So
Like a quick and easy, like I do this every day. It's super easy. Like anything like Sam was talking about. Did I hear him say he cooks steak every night
yeah,
on a skillet?
yeah, I think he's you could see Sam's eyes light up when he puts it on the skillet and you have to like warm it up and you sear it one way and he's a single guy. He's an eligible bachelor for sure.
Yeah.
And he brings a lot to the table because he knows how to cook. So he's definitely a good guy to know. I don't know if I have like a favorite meal. I think that I'm on the go a lot.
Sure.
So like I just incorporated intermittent fasting into my life, and for many years, like I'd need to eat every 2 hours.
Sure.
I think I manipulated myself into thinking I gotta have a meal every 2 or 3 hours. I mean, like
Sure.
for Muhammad, we have to meet for this, or we gotta, Professor, there's something we gotta do this time. I'm like, well, is there gonna be food? What time are we eating? I'll be texting you in the middle,
Food situation.
Yeah. So, but because I'm so busy, intermittent fasting makes sense because I can be very productive in the first part of the day, and I don't have to stop for a meal, and I don't have to I don't have to lose any time there. But I don't really have a favorite meal. I just kind of like make healthier choices as frequently as I can. So, and I don't feel guilty. I don't feel guilty about having an unhealthy meal. I don't because I balance it out with, taking my vitamins and making consistent, healthier choices. Like
Alejandra has made a few comments here. She said, well, one is Huberman Labs, which you listen to Huberman Labs?
No.
Dude, it's it's a good listen, but I feel like it just ruins things for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like coffee, caffeine. That one was okay, but like I drink a lot of caffeine, like a lot of caffeine.
Yeah.
And
Well, the caffeine and like an energy drink is different than coffee.
Sure. Well, yeah, and so yes, it is. And but even like sleep,
Yeah.
and sleep deprivation, and what it means if you feel like you need a nap, like what that means. Like they've got this whole 3 days here. I'm getting off on a tangent though. Huberman Labs is a good podcast, but she says that's what got her into her fitness journey, and Alejandra is down just since she started training with us. Oh, boy, I would guess. I'm gonna guess 50, 60 pounds, and it was quick, right?
Can
That-
females
That was my attempt to snap. It just kind of.
can females train jujitsu?
Of course, females can train jiu-jitsu. I mean, he'll come see Helena Sunday. Females train jiu-jitsu, and I would put it into. Let me get back to it because I got a whole thing on females train jiu-jitsu. She also says Primal Elite Nutrition. Yeah, they've been good. For like, and that makes sense that would work for you, Alejandra. Primal Elite. I remember when they first opened. It was right around the same time we did. Their first spot was at Dearborn Heights, right off Telegraph. At least that I knew of. But their meals are like 500-600 calories. Like that's like I'm just getting started with 500 or 600 calories. Like I'm not trying to, but it is a good option. Like if you have a smaller calorie intake, again, but their food is good, and it's just you warm it up. Now you're dealing with the microplastics, right? So which is a totally different thing, which Huberman Labs run for me, right? But Primal Elite is a good option. Can women train jiu-jitsu? Yeah, of course they can. In fact, I've been on a roll watching like 120, 130 or 40 pound brown belts destroy 100 like bodybuilders. 200-pound bodybuild. Like just watching these videos, it's predictable. It's predictable. But I will add this. Like they need to train for years, like years. Like you can't just like and when I say years, I don't mean 2. I mean like 6 or 7 to really like just the anatomy of a woman is so different. It's like for most of them, it's like that of a child. Like you think of I think Aaliyah, right? Like when her and I roll, her frame, everything about her is just petite. She's a smaller woman, right? Like smaller human in general, and so your technique has to be like you and I will be able to get away with more, right? Their technique has to be like razor sharp, on point
You
with
know,
that.
that is, I believe, what makes smaller, unathletic people so good at
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu
they have to
because
be. They have no other choice.
yeah, they can't compensate for muscle, they can't compensate for their size,
Just talk at the mic. Yeah.
they can't compensate for like being a smaller opponent or smaller athlete. So they have to like really understand what it is they're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, because something's working because you're bigger or stronger than somebody doesn't mean it's working correctly.
Sure.
And you'll get exposed at some point if you're doing a technique or, you know, doing any kind of exercises. At some point, the truth is going to show up, and I think that is definitely what makes, like I said, smaller people, unathletic people, they really understand and dial into what the coach is asking, and that's also what makes a good student in jiu-jitsu is like really wanting to learn.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, females can train jiu-jitsu.
Of course they can.
Females can train jiu-jitsu. They get very good at jiu-jitsu, and you know, just like anybody else, the benefits of jiu-jitsu for females is like, you know, you can manage stress, you can manage like highs and lows, if females ever have them. Men have them too. Okay, to their defense, but like, did they take the camera off?
I
you for that?
don't know, man. Like,
That
oh
can
my,
seem
yeah.
insensitive. So now I have to clarify.
I'll spit all over the mic.
Yeah, women have different responsibilities and different things running through their mind than men, but they affect us all the same.
Sure.
Like I have highs and lows emotionally. Some things really
Same.
trigger me, and you know that's what jiu-jitsu does. It helps you like manage your state, manage how, you know, something shitty happens, and it helps you manage how you interpret that and how you're supposed to feel. Because if you could manage yourself in consistently stressful problem solving situations in jiu-jitsu, they translate off the mat, and we get triggered and we feel a certain way, and then we kind of cringe up. We either go into flight or fight, and we can't think, and we just kind of need some space. But you don't get that in jiu-jitsu. In jiu-jitsu, you're forced to stay a student. You know, if you're smart, and you're forced to stay a student and learn about what's happening to you, what you need to do about it, how you need to address it, and how you need to come back and deal with it the next day. And like Aaliyah said the other day, she's like, I get it. She's like, I was talking to her about jiu-jitsu and the benefits of jiu-jitsu and focus and like discipline and like feeling better. And she's like, I remember Coach David telling me that, and he's like, you know, that's not really what you're doing here, because you could learn how to fight jiu-jitsu in a very short amount of time. Like, for all you listeners, if you want to learn self-defense, like you can learn self-defense and get really good at it and if effectively defend yourself in the street. But like Leah said, she's been training for many years. Her children train. She's competed at masters. She has dozens of tournaments underneath her belt against bigger, stronger, younger opponents. You know, she's like
fought up at rank.
Yeah. So she's like, now I understand that like every time I leave the mat, the benefit is off of the mat. Like she's doing really well in her career. Jiu-jitsu helps your career. Yes, it does. And she's just like, you can look at her and she owns her own space. She's still who she is, but the amount of time she's putting on the mat is translating into making her like a super girl, a super mom, super spouse, super business owner, and that's what jiu-jitsu gives you, you know.
Well, I think there's more too. Like, you know, I was talking in. I mean, we like let's talk about the stress aspect too. But you know, there's I was talking with Chris Pirelli on Messenger, and we just started chatting about like third world countries, right? And so we talked about how he made a post about like health and diet and sunlight, whatever, and then his I want to say his mother-in-law didn't realize she was poor. Like she lived, I want to say she lived in like some Central American country, Puerto Rico maybe or something. She's like, she didn't realize she was poor until she came to America. She was like living in like a hut, fishing with a stick by the river, and like happy and smiling. And then she came to, she came to America, and of course, like our poor people, like you're poor because you're low income in a house with heat and running water and an iPhone and cable, like just the disparity of it, and so that but and all that to say, so America is one of the wealthiest nations on the planet and the most medicated.
Don't get me started there because, you remember the story, and I think I mentioned it on a podcast a while back. I was at a refugee camp of people who didn't have, who did literally no roofs over their head.
Yeah.
Okay, they had a bed that you would see in a prison, but
Yeah.
this is a refugee camp of people who were like killed and expelled from their homes and from Palestine, and this refugee camp had this guy. He was an older man, and we walked in. I walked in to meet him, and he had some food laid out on the floor. Okay, this is a true story, and the person who was walking me around the refugee camp to meet people said, where did you get this food from? And the guy said, I swear to God, I didn't steal it. It's not for me. And he said, like, what do you mean? And this is an older man. Picture like concrete walls all around him. There's one way in that essentially is unpaved floors leading from like house to house. The majority of them don't have roofs. I'd say 70, 80% of them. And
So they're exposed to the elements.
100%.
When it rains.
Yeah. There might have been some plastic on top or something. But he said, I took it out of the trash to give it to some poor people that don't have food. So when somebody thinks they don't have something, you can have all the credit card bills in the world. You can have a house payment. You can have all these liabilities. Like, man, I can't catch up on my bills and I don't have, I'm not doing good. I'm struggling. But you can still go home and sit inside your house or get inside a car. Even if you owe money on the car, they would love to have our problems. Like, that's real poverty. So we don't know what real poverty is like because we're given a chance to have everything we want, and we're given a chance to have comfort for that day or that year or whatever it is. We don't know what real poverty is like.
Have you seen that famous reel going around, and it shows like it was right before Christmas time, and it shows like they interview like these American kids what they want for Christmas. And so I want my phone. I want $1,000. I want this. I want this. Like just American kids. And then they interviewed kids in somewhere. Look, could have been Palestine, could have been Middle East, and they're like, I want warm bread. I want to see my dad. Like, dude, I like. Oh man, just like.
That was
like,
Palestine.
You said was I'm not surprised. Like, just getting that, dude. Like especially seeing the kid. Cause look at kids, right? You know what it takes to make a kid happy. Like smiling and happy, and it doesn't take much, man.
No.
It doesn't take much at all. And I think a lot of times like social. I'm not gonna go and be like social media is the bogeyman, or it's a tool like anything else. It's an amoral tool, right? Neither good nor evil, like anything else. But it does allow comparison where you wouldn't normally see it. Like I think your boy Eric Thomas was covering. He's like, and he's from Detroit, right? So it's a good illustration. He's like, who here grew up middle class and drove a Honda or F-150? He's like, did you live on the street driving your Honda and your neighbor drove a Lamborghini? He's like, no, all of you drove Honda. Like everyone had the same car or a variation, or maybe like a what. He's like, and then you see social media and you got like this, and it's all like, it's a show, man. Like it's a show, and so it's all fabrication, stuff's leased or whatever. And this may seem like a tangent, but I want to bring it back about the medication of antidepressants and things like that. Imagine, you got the internet there? Mm-hmm. What's the market, or how big is the industry? What's the gross revenue of antidepressants in America? We need to have our own Jamie, like Rogan's got. Pull that up, Jamie. And throw it on TV. Like I'm gonna guess it's $2 billion.
Actually, yeah, we'll have a Jamie here next podcast.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, we need to get a Jamie here.
The gross revenue for anti
Depressants. What's it giving you?
as of 2020, it was 15 billion.
Billion.
By 2030, it's going to project to grow to 21 billion.
Yeah, I mean, if it's so, it's
And-
15 billion by 2020. I bet that's increased 50%.
Wow. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So think about that, dude. Like that's what people to feel what? To feel good, to feel content, right? Like, and so imagine that's $15 billion. We were talking earlier about like money getting into jiu-jitsu. I mean, just exercise and move and like to clear your space. I mean, you and I were talking when I was working. I'm like, dude, I'm not even having fun anymore, man. And then like I think that very next night, like I couldn't make the class. I made the class that night though, and just I literally left. It's like a hard reset on your devices. You know when your computer or your phone get all bogged down and it's like it's glitching up. Specifically Androids. Sorry y'all, but like they sucked for that. That's why I do iPhone. You do a hard reset and it comes back and it's operating again. Like that's how I view after matches. I mean, look, competition's cool. We're gonna talk more about that. I'm going to Palm tonight to train. Like I'm down for competition, but competition has never changed my. It's not enough to keep me training long term. The competition alone. It's a cool nuance. It's a cool nuance to it. But it's not enough to keep me training long, man.
Yeah, there's the Khabib and the Dagestani fighters who they don't stop talking about.
Yeah.
Who are extremely successful. They don't have the fancy treadmills. They don't have the high tech equipment. Like they don't have all that. So they train and like literally in the mountains. Like they have mountains like they do in California, but in California they choose to go to the fancy gym and use the treadmill and elevate versus go up in the mountains and run when it's hot, run when it's cold. So so I think it's like for we're putting money and more emphasis like on antidepressants like we are in health clubs and things like that. Does it feel good? Does it look good? Does it market good if you have really fancy and new equipment and the state of the art stuff? Yeah, but is it just as efficient as running up a hill in the mountains? Probably more.
Yeah.
You got a connection with like with either nature or the primal survival of why you train, and you're big on that.
Listen, man. Like if you told me tomorrow, like something happens, God forbid, and I just couldn't train jiu-jitsu anymore, I'd get deep into hunting. I would get deep into like woodsman stuff. Because I think there was, I read somewhere about the benefit, even just the benefits of, you don't even have to. I mean, certainly it's better if you. Oh no! It was synced to my phone and my phone died. That's not good. They can still hear us, ironically. So y'all are gonna have a black screen for a minute. But I would keep. You have an iPhone charger. This is gonna be wild. Should have kept it plugged in. I would go like even just the visual of being and seeing the green scale. I think I got one. You got a fast charger there? Even just the green scale of seeing green trees is enough to like improve your mindset. I got one over here, Coach. Yeah, thanks, brother. The van coming through. So they can still hear us, I assume. Hey, you guys do me a favor. If you're watching, just can you still hear us? You should still be able to hear us because the audio is a totally different force. And the video will come back shortly. Can you just comment? You guys can still hear us? Yeah. So it's going to be audio just for a few seconds while I reboot my phone. Talking about a reboot, that's going to be my phone right now. If you could, that's a good question, Coach. If you couldn't train jiu-jitsu anymore, what would you do? What would be like your next in line?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I want to talk about it.
Yeah, that's kind of honestly that's kind of how I feel. But like, that's a very sensitive subject. You take something away that you took for granted, and you didn't maximize and use to the best of your ability and the most of your time. It's so bitter. It's an empty feeling. You know, we we have a couple members, like we have Coach Jabril, Coach Faddis. You know, they have spent their entire youth in jiu-jitsu. They've spent their entire like preteens, teens, and now their adult years focusing on jiu-jitsu, whether it be coaching, training, competing. Like it's been for jiu-jitsu, and uh, the, the some of the most important years of their life, who they're developing into who they're going to be later on in life, they're spending on the mat, and like they're using the time wisely. Colin,
They're using time better than I spent my youth. That's for
yeah,
sure.
and you know what? That's very impressive. Like if you told a parent, say, how would you feel if we can get your son or daughter into jujitsu? Is jujitsu good for my kids? Like, how's it going to help them? How would you feel if your son or daughter used their teenage years, instead of working their schedule around where are we going to hang out tonight? Where are we going to go out? Like, what are the guys doing? You know, let's go to this party or that party. How would you feel if your son or daughter is essentially at the gym like a job, 20 hours a week, and they're using everything to build themselves to be smarter, more confident, and to be a leader in their peer group. And most importantly, they're using that time in jiu-jitsu to prepare them for the real world. And jiu-jitsu definitely does that for kids. It's doing it for Colin. It's doing it for Coach Jabril, Coach Faddis, and all the other ones coming up.
Do you think that there's a because I'll hear this every now and then. They're like, "Oh, well, I still want them to be kids," and I get like the socializing aspect. I don't listen. I get that.
Would I be?
I get that, but the socializing aspect of it. But like in time, how I spent some of my youth, dude, just so much wasted youth. I mean, it's nostalgic for me, but I have probably spent 1,000 hours playing Halo.
When was the last hour you spent playing Halo?
The Halo specific,
Like
or any video game.
Is this a recent thing, or this is?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, in my youth. Like I'm saying, like I've probably spent 1,000 hours playing Halo. And last time I played it, I think was Halo. Halo 3, maybe. I mean, like we're talking. Yeah, we're talking probably
1,000 hours.
I mean, yeah, we're talking probably 2010, maybe is when the last time I played Halo. But I'll still play video games with my kids. Like I stomped on my Mario Party the other night. They both started crying.
So 1,000 hours. 1,000 hours.
I know.
Actually, if you sleep 12 hours, you get that done in 2 months. So that's not a lot. For kids nowadays, they have like 40, 50-hour work weeks where they're doing nothing but video games.
I was talking to Gary Shield yesterday.
Yeah.
Average kid has 100 hours of screen activity every week.
I believe it.
Screen activity between TV, and a good portion of that is, a lot of it's on school now, I think. So I think we're almost back in the audio, maybe.
You mean video?
Yes, video. Obviously, the audio's still going. So what would you say? We're talking about productivity hacks. Is our last one on here? What are some of your productivity hacks? Because you're talking about, obviously you're here, business. Like what are some of your productivity hacks? Because you've done. I mean, your resume. You don't really talk about it. I mean, you and I talk and it's usually in passing. Like, oh yeah, when I owned a coffee shop in Toledo. I'm like, what do you mean? When do you own a coffee? Like your resume is pretty impressive. Like what's the productivity hack?
If you don't grow, you got to go. And when I say that, don't take that as a threat, but you have to own that. If you don't grow, you got to go. A productivity hack is become a student of what you're doing, and something new that really is I have a lot of businesses and a lot of projects that I work on. And I think one thing that's helped me feel like I'm getting stuff done is, and this is a big hack for me. You ready for it?
Ready.
All right.
Video's back, by the way. Let me know how the video's doing. Is it up? Is it lagged? Whatever. But we should be back.
Okay. Question is productivity hack. When you start something, okay, and it's not when you start working out.
Yeah.
When you run into a obstacle or a challenge, sometimes you have to address it, and it takes you all the way down the road outside of what your initial goal is. Okay.
You're
So-
gonna.
My productivity hack is you're gonna run into that again. You're gonna run into that again.
You're gonna run into what?
You're gonna run into an obstacle
Yeah.
on how to get to your ultimate goal. You're gonna run into like setting these cameras up, for example.
Oh, dude. Okay, and that's why I'm laughing. As I allocated, I'm the worst at this, by the way. At like time allocation, I'm the worst. I allocated, I think, 90 minutes for it, and we're at like 10 hours. To set up, the setup, right? And Keanu was the man, but continue. I cut you off.
So like that's a great example. Is you allocate 90 minutes. The outcome and the goal is to get a professional podcast studio that you spent thousands and thousands of dollars on, this whole setup. Thank you. But like that's the goal is to get a setup. But along the way, you're running into something, and if you just want to get it done, but not necessarily understanding the obstacle in the way, because you could have just kind of like threw it together, maybe had somebody else do it or something like that. But when you address everything, regardless of how far it goes, if it takes you to an electrical problem, your productivity hack is if you ever run into anything on the way to getting your ultimate goal or objective, you learn that you never let anything get in your way. You don't just put it aside. You address it. So not only you and your towards your future goals, anybody who comes in contact with you on that subject is going to see and feel that you get shit done. Mm-hmm. So that's probably a really general explanation. But when you run into an obstacle, don't just throw it away and say, I'll deal with it later. You kind of teach yourself and how to attack a goal is that anything that gets in my way, I don't care how far it takes me, I'm going to get it done, and I'm coming right back to get on this track.
So,
but it's got to be related to the ultimate goal,
Sure.
of where you want to go.
So I'm laughing, right? Because like Amanda, like obviously we were working on the build out here, and for the longest time until very recently, we didn't have cameras, and so I would just be here, working, and Amanda's like, hey, she just knew I would be gone, and then I'd be home, and the day went fine, and then dude, she's nosy. Amanda is like, she's probably, for all I know, she's probably not watching the podcast, but if she's just like, some people scroll social media, she'll just check the cameras, like at the gym, just to check them, and she's probably not watching the podcast, but she's probably watching the cameras of us in this room because she's just nosy, she's got like this, she's like the eye of the sky, and so she'll be like, what are you doing? Like, I'll just be working here and stuff is not going right. Like it's not going well at all. And so she'll see me back up and down, up and down the stairs.
She sees you huffing and puffing.
And wanting to throw my hammer through a brick wall. And she's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing that's taking so long? And I'm like, listen, but my time allocation, that's something I want to work on. Like, I'm really actively trying to work on is time allocation for certain products. I got turned on to a what's it called? It's like a daily journal thing, but you see beginning day plans. You plan your day out hour by hour, theoretically. It's always theoretically. Which
Here we go again. The last time he did that, let me just tell you what happened.
Theoretically.
The last time we did that, David set his schedule for literally every 30 minutes. And I think you put that down. And it was like, well, I got to go make my coffee. I got to use the bathroom. I got to do, it was torture.
You want to talk about a stressful, that was super stressful. So I've gotten a little better with it. But theoretical, time blocking, right? Podcast take, whatever. We're at 2 hours, whatever, for the podcast, whatever. and then you do an after action report, which is a end of day report. So you audit your day, right? Like, okay, what did I actually do today? Because just sometimes you can, that's this Tim Ferriss thing. Like, busy. Were you busy or were you productive? Like, because you talk to everyone, oh, everyone's busy, right? Like, but is everyone productive? And so, what did I actually get done? And then, if sometimes the answer is like, yesterday, I hung a TV and we got the podcast stuff set up. It's not a whole lot, right? And then I did some wrestling. Like, it's not a whole lot, but it's two pretty big things. And why was it only these two? How did it go? And then you have to rate yourself. How did it go according to your plan? And you give yourself an honest rating, 1 through 10. Like, yeah, went great, or nah, dude, I botched it. But why? And I think that reflection of going why, as opposed to you learn from it day after day. That's really helped. It's really helped me. You have an inside seat. My schedule is
You make it sound so easy.
It's an ongoing. No. I'm literally saying right now, it's an ongoing. Between my nutrition and my schedule, it's an ongoing battle with me. It's like a love-hate relationship. Like I'm envious of the people who are like, they can just wake up and be like, yeah, let's see what do I want to tackle today?
Well, look, that is a perfect example. Let me explain. Our goal is to have just the best jiu-jitsu academy.
Sure.
Our goal is to duplicate blue belts, purple belts, brown belts, black belts. Our goal is to make sure that anybody interested in Brazilian jiu-jitsu gets to feel what we feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the goal.
Sure.
Now, if our goal, so our daily goals are going to be different. If our daily productivity report is going to be different, if we say, I want to get into the best shape that I can.
Sure.
I want to feel good. I want to train. I want to learn self-defense, and I want to be better at competing. If that is our goal, then trust me, you and I wouldn't be spending all this time and all this money into making it a comfortable, a safe, open place with a full schedule, with full calendar of events. And our members and anybody out there have to understand, whether it's Metro Jiu-Jitsu or like any other Jiu-Jitsu academy, that's the goal of the owner. If our goal was to be to level up Jiu-Jitsu or compete more, we wouldn't have time for this. Yeah. Trust me.
Yeah, well,
I would be training more, competing more. I would be incorporating more lifting. I would be a little bit more selfish on what I do with my time, but my time is here for you. Your instructor time, it's here for you. If you don't see your instructor, I guarantee you that he's thinking, talking, or working on something to make that a better place for you. I guarantee it. So,
you're good. If you guys can't tell, his voice is elevating because there's a lot of chatterboxes out there. Like to your point, and we just had this conversation like last week, right? Because we were talking about. I was like, I do want. Excuse me. I do want to compete more, but I'm gonna keep it local. And then Nancy's like, well, why don't you go to Dave? Why don't you go to Worlds? I said, Nancy, I know what it takes to compete at Worlds. Just the training regimen for Worlds would require. I mean, we're talking 8-9 classes a week, plus lifting, plus cardio, plus supplementing, plus additional more. I mean, get more in front of Alvarez, Bruno, Coach Eric, Coach Paul. It's like that is a full-time commitment. And it's not the only goal I've got. Because again, like we talked about the roadmap, right? You and I know personally several world champions, several world champions, and they have day jobs. You know what I mean? Like so it's like if it's something you're doing for you, then great, But if it's something like we're working to build something else outside of here, yeah, still very much want to compete because the mental aspect of it, physical, whatever. But it's aligning those goals, and to your point, that your goal for that day, and then there's different tiers, right? Because a single dude, single, childless, not married, whatever, like they've got a lot more available resources, and plus, then there's the toll, like what's that strain on your household? What's that strain? Sorry, babe, I can't literally, per case in point. Hope she's watching. Maybe not. I mean, are we supposed to get snow today or something?
I see some flakes out there. It's a very big window.
Yeah. So.
It's a very big window.
So there's supposed to be like a snowstorm. I'm driving up to Saginaw. Amanda's like, Dave, don't go to Saginaw. I was like, Coach Carl's already expecting me. I said I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. She's like, but it's supposed to snow, which by and large, something that will never affect my decision making of where I'm going is the weather. Outside of like, I can't think of a situation in Michigan, right? A hurricane, fine, whatever. But like outside of Michigan, like learn how to drive in the snow, dog. That's all right. Me too. So you can get my plus my truck. You'll see. That's fine. I'm not throwing anything. But it's the toll, right, of your goals, and I think that's the trickiest thing, because to me it's really easy to have a single focus. That's really easy. I want to be world champion. It's pretty. I mean, that's what you want to do. I believe the niche is small enough in jiu-jitsu. If you sold out and did that, literally all in, 50, 60, 70 hours a week, full commitment, 7 days, 365, you could do it. We know a lot of people did it. But if you're like, I want to be a world champion and a great husband and a great present father, and I still have a career, I want to build a business, or I'm going back to college, I want to be a doctor. Now each one of those are very, like, those are honorable things that take time. And so now it's like, it's where you craft this life. And I think it's not, the gratification is not immediate, and so it's like it's a very long road, and a lot of times you don't realize how far you've come until you look back at it.
Yeah, and there's different phases of people's life on what they are willing to sacrifice, sure, and what they're not. Some at certain phase of their life will say, no, I just can't do that. And I think one of the benefits of training jiu-jitsu is understanding you got to have skin in the game. You got to have skin in the game, and you can't do it half-ass. And only you know how much work and how much skin you actually need. And the more you start to train and get in shape and feel better, the more you realize this is actually all on me. You got a big team around you, but all the hard work and you put in, essentially, it's a very individual sport when it comes to how much are you willing to do, how far are you willing to go as far as leaving work early. If you went to sleep late, your coach is not going to be there to say, hey, wake up, it's time to get to class. Like, and at different phases in people's life, they're willing to work more, to do more, to come in extra, and you're going to be tired.
Yeah.
Like any major goal, you're going to be tired, and you're going to have to give some things up, but the more sweat equity you have, and the more you're willing to put things aside, then the better result you're going to get, sure, like anything else.
We have a couple comments here.
Any questions?
Comments/questions, Mr. Christian Mattel. Hey, coaches, has there been a schedule made for Wesleyan yet? Yes, there has. So
Mr. Mattel, how you doing? Thanks for the
it's,
question.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you're looking for kids, that's at 5 p.m. If you're looking for adults, that is at 7. Monday, Wednesday are no gi. Wednesday is gi takedowns, and then if you are kickboxing is Monday, Friday right now, right? Yeah, my kickboxing is Monday, Friday. Yeah. Again, kids at 5, adults at 7. And so, speaking of world champions, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Deon Thompson, says, I think it's important to compete not so much for you, but for your students. A loss, in my opinion, is a way for you to identify your blind spots. Of course, man. Yeah, I mean that. And that is, well, and to that point, right? Like, if I think, whether it's business, whether it's coaching, jiu-jitsu, whether it's my kids, right? Like, I'm not going to ask someone to do something that I haven't done or won't do. So how can we very well rally the troops, right? If and be like, hey guys, we want you to go out there and compete. I mean, we go deep when we go to team tournaments. Like when we, it's not uncommon to have a lot of kids. I mean, we show up deep. So if I'm not if I'm not willing, if you're physically able, if you're not willing to lead from the front, the tip of the spear, and that's very difficult to do, especially day of competing and coaching. Man, that is such a mental strain, physical strain too, but more mental, like to because for every when you're coaching jujitsu, you are doing every match mentally from the kids at 8 a.m. when they open the doors to your match, man. And it's not uncommon, especially grappling industries who has their absolutes at friggin' way too early. Like their absolute no gi advance, cool, 8:30 a.m. Let's go. And so like you're going next to 6-year-olds, and that's it's you're doing every single match, and so it's like mental drills. Well, you've done hundreds of or dozens of matches anyway by the time you come up, and that's I think there's value in that, absolutely.
Yeah, students don't realize when an instructor competes how I don't want to speak for everybody, but how essentially unprepared or how much more time that they actually could give to their personal training. And because the whole reason the coach is there is to kind of serve his students and to help his students.
Course, yeah.
And at any given time throughout the day, a coach could essentially, whether it be asking a question or change what he's doing for that day for his students. And so many times that happens when a coach's hat goes on, students don't know he's wearing a coach hat or I'm training for a competition myself. And so, yeah, I agree that, I think it's great for an instructor to compete alongside his students. And in order to win, you have to know how to lose.
Of course.
And I don't remember, I've competed quite a few times. Right offhand, I can't tell you what I learned from the matches that I've won. But the ones that really stick out for me are the ones that I've lost.
Dude, I got caught in a buggy choke this a couple tournaments ago, and never say. I'd like to think I'll never get caught in one again. And I was winning, dude. I was
you're just
winning.
not gonna know. And yeah, so there's so many good things that come out of competing, and I think everybody should. And for the owners that can compete, like owners or coaches or head coaches, it feels good to see your coach. And
It does, dude.
but as a coach and a head coach, like I said, you have two different hats on, and serving your students, you're putting all your time and your energy into them, and
Sure.
it just takes away from a lot of preparation for those coaches or owners, whoever that can do both. You got to give them a lot of credit because it's not an easy thing to do. It's not. Not only do they leave their business behind, they leave their family behind because they already have a job of like 5 to 9 or 4 to 9 for competing, and when they decide to put that head on, they leave more out there. So, definitely an unsung hero.
What do you think's more stressful? Dion says he thinks coaching's more stressful than competing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that because you don't have like your heart is in there, your energy's in there, your soul is in there, and it's like, and you almost feel helpless for a moment,
Oh, I certainly feel helpless. Yeah, especially kids. Especially kids. Yeah, it's like watching. Yeah. I mean, I certainly feel helpless. I mean, I think. You know who's been a really big inspiration to me, and I talked with Carl about this, who's got like a good mindset on it. Like when I earned my brown was a big deal because I was talking with Swola about that. I liked purple belt the best because you had you had some years under your belt, but like you were still allowed to lose. But then you get brown and black. And like everyone loves to see you just Google blue belt beats black belt, purple belt beats black belt. Like, bro, you're not immortal. You know what I mean? And Eric Rolston was Central Michigan Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, one of our also under the Alvarez banner. I mean, dude, he is game. I've seen him, and that's what, like, after watching him a couple times, this is years ago. Like, he'll fight, not fight, he'll match anybody. 12-month white belt in no-gi absolute. Like, he doesn't care, dude. He'll take any match, anytime. Black belt, like, and he'll give up any weight discrepancy, dude. He's just there to scrap and game, and he doesn't care. And I think, like, that's the way, dude. That's admirable. It's so admirable, dude. And he's like, and how many good looks does he get? You know, because sometimes, you're dealing with, you go to black belt. It's always, if both, it seems like a lot. They can play it safe sometimes. Like, oh, just super technical or whatever. It's usually whoever makes the first mistake or someone's gonna pull guard. Or, and you get these, like, going against blues. Like, they scrap, dog. Like they got that hunger. And Eric is down. So mad props to him, man.
Eric is definitely he's a scrapper. He's really tough, very tough. He's a good competitor. He's done extremely well against some very high level people. But that goes back to saying, like, what are you going to the gym for?
Mm-hmm.
At that tournament or that workout,
Yeah.
what is the goal? If you want to scrap, there's a place to scrap.
Yeah.
If you want to say, I want to try out my takedowns, great. That's a place to try your takedowns. But competing and winning, you can compete and lose and still accomplish a goal.
Yeah.
But if your only goal is to compete and win, a medal chaser, there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
And it's not about who's the best scrapper. It's not about who's more technical. It's about who's more tactical, who plays the clock a little bit better.
The sport, yeah.
Yeah, who plays the sport. It's not about who fights. It's about who competes and who's more tactical. And coaches know that because we're balancing out all that. The students want to get the medal, but we want to kind of teach you how to compete, how to be tactical, how to be technical, how to be tough. We're trying to teach everything, but you can't do it all in one match all the time.
Bruno's philosophy is like win by advantage, dude. Like, that's like he's like all right. I think he said one time. I may misquote him. If I'm misquoting you, Professor Bruno, I apologize. He's like, why would I need to win by more than an advantage? I think is what he said. Like,
yeah,
and it still wins.
I've trained with him, I've rolled with him, and I have studied underneath him, and he's going to get promoted his last stripe before red belt. Yeah, so he has an encyclopedia of knowledge in his head, but does he go out there and use all that on the mat? No, because the only objective is to win within the rule set. It's not to say I'm going to pull guard and sweep. He's going to use whatever jiu-jitsu he needs to actually win. Sometimes you'll see competitions that are not the most exciting, but at the end of the goal, people are only going to remember, did you win?
Yeah.
And then the second place is going to say, well, yeah, but they didn't even do anything. But you know what? His goal was to win, not to do anything. And so you have to understand, as far as competition, that is the goal. Like football, they'll kill the clock if they could run the ball. Nibble, chip, nibble, chip, nibble, chip. They might get a throw downfield. And jiu-jitsu is no different. Is that it's whatever the goal is has to be.
I struggle with that, man. So when I started, I forget when it was, but my MO used to be pull guard, see if I could sweep or submit from guard. If I couldn't, or if they started to pass, I would go to turtle. At least they didn't get pass points. And then I would just kind of stay there because I didn't learn how to wrestle, whatever. And at one point, Amanda was like, I forget what she said, but she effectively was just roasted me for, doing the same thing. She said, what, you going to do your turtle guard or something? And I was like, all right, my stuff's going to, one, I'm going to learn takedowns. But two, my stuff's going to be more, it's going to be, more. If I'm gonna lose, it's at least gonna be yo, that was fun to watch, right? I'm gonna be kind of go down swinging type mentality, and I struggle with sport jiu-jitsu in general, because I got into it because I lost the street fight, man. That's why I got into it. I fully understand the sports side. I get the tactics of it. When you get the medal, no one really asks how you got it when you come back with it. So I get it. I get it, but. Bryce says reffing Reffing is more stressful than bro. But dude, what the refs go through can be a little out of control. I mean, one, I don't want to ref. Like, I'm not your ref, by the way. Like if I'm not your ref, like you don't want me reffing your match, I don't want to ref your match. Like, I'm not your boy for that. But would you ever want to ref, man? Like, I don't want to ref ever.
You know, I honestly, the one venue I wouldn't mind that's not really professional is like IBJJF. There's a clear don't talk to the refs.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like
Sure.
that, you
Yeah.
know. So if I was reffing underneath the rule set, that there's a clear line between how you can talk to and approach the refs. Like I would enjoy it, you know. But I think there's too much proximity between uh, parents, kids, or you know the athletes being able to like confront the ref that makes it unenjoyable and an undesirable position to hold because like it stresses you out. Like,
Oh, dude, it's
what if I make a mistake? People make mistakes.
And you know who is like, I see because we see a lot of the same refs, right? Like I think Brad, Max, Kevin, and their react. Like I'll see people, maybe they're new or they're like new to the sport, like so maybe their kids just get and they start like, you know, just kind of get lippy, and you'll see, especially Brad, he'll just like his arms just go like limp at his side, and he's like, okay, he'll listen to it, knowing full well, you know, he just won 20 grand at PGF, by the way.
Brad did.
Yeah, Brad Schneider.
Oh, good for him.
What's his last name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won it, and
He's got over a big knee injury, by the way.
I know that's what. Yeah, he got. It was like a gnarly. He was out for months, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we were at Arnold's talking to him, and but like his facial expressions, I don't want that, man. And it's a bad, like because it's a whole tournament experience. You know, it's how do you win, how do you lose, how do you address the refs, how do you handle disappointment, how do you prepare, like everything about that for of competition, like that's the value in it, and prepping up to it. How do you when people ask about it, even when people ask about it, how do you respond? Hey, how'd your matches go? You know what, man? It's I lost, but well, hang on. Did you win or lose? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you win or lose? So I lost. I should have done this better. Now I don't care if the guy was bigger. I don't care if he went up a weight class. I don't care if he was first seed. I don't care, right? So that's all that's what goes into competition and the competition scene. So I think I mean, that's all of our topics that we covered. We've been talking for, it just seems it's easier to keep talking this way as opposed to that disconnect with virtual. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the comments in the meantime. But I think we got them all. We got Alejandra, Leah, Bryce. I think we got them all, man. So, yep, if you guys, as always, if you guys are interested in trying out jiu-jitsu, maybe, I mean, because it's on YouTube too, so if you're like not in Michigan, where's the camera? Yeah, if you're not in Michigan right now and you are looking for a gym near you, message us, we'll help you find one. I'm sure, you know, between Google and social media, we'll be able to find you a good school. And if you're thinking about competing, definitely talk to your coaches about it and see what they, you know, kind of see their thoughts. They'll help you get prepared for it. I promise, I don't know. I mean, you know, anybody who they've competed and they're like, that sucked, I'm never doing it again. You don't hear that very often. Normally it's always a positive experience.
Win or lose, it's like, I want to do it again.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and log off. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe for us, please. That really helps us out. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Throw a comment. That helps the Google algo get found locally as well. And then if you're on Facebook, share this, you know, to stories, your feed. Even just commenting again, you know, the whole nine. Again, helps us kind of get found organically. And of course, if you're looking to start training at Metro in the Westlake, Canton, Plymouth area, or downriver at Southgate, kickboxing or jiu-jitsu, of course, we got our website, metrojj.com. Phone number is 734-225-6230. We'll get you guys hooked up, or just comment on here and be like, hey, I'm in, or whatever. So cool. As always, guys, we'll see you on the mats.